Welcome back to the Explanation Pro. Today I'll recap a sci-fi, fantasy film called Zardoz. Spoilers incoming. Within the dark, a floating head introduces himself as Arthur Frayne, who is also known as Zardoz. He is an immortal being that can control man upon his commands since he is considered a fake god, or a magician, and the story that he will tell may happen in the future. Set in the year 2293, masked men are riding horses throughout the hills and are known as the Brutals. These men worship an enormous flying head made of stone which they call Zardoz. The stone head comes down and greets his chosen people who are higher beings than Brutals and are the exterminators, whom he commands to eliminate other Brutals that multiply and poison the earth. Zardoz showers the exterminators with guns and bullets from its mouth since he implies that gun is good and their duty is to go forth and kill. The exterminators hurriedly pick up guns of their own, and Zed takes a gun as well and fires at the camera. As the Zardoz head is floating in the sky, inside its mouth reveals a man holding a gun buried in the grains. This man is Zed, who sneakily goes inside, and there he sees numerous naked humans who are covered in plastics. Zed is observing these wrapped up people and he suddenly hears someone nearby, so he hides behind a rock. Zed jumps behind the mysterious man who is actually Arthur Frayne, and he shoots him. Arthur, who is shocked by the sudden attack, calls out Zed's action as foolish and pointless. Then he falls out of the stone head. The stone head lands in a distant place where the Eternals live, and advanced technology is observed by Zed in such a place. In the location where he had landed, Zed sees machines that make bread, growing plants inside plastic domes, and big pipes that contain unknown substances. His curiosity leads him to a room where different writings are scribbled on the wall and are filled with things that are new to him, like a jack-in-the-box. A voice within the room starts to announce information about a harvest produce report, which is from a crystal ring inside a box with mirrors inside it. Zed picks it up and shakes it, and his action triggers the ring to show a hologram of the needs of people in Vortex 4, where he currently is. He also learns that this crystal ring is voice activated, where the ring can show you pictures and answer your queries. Zed is baffled to know that the owner of the ring is Arthur, whom he killed, and tries to hide the ring to avoid seeing and hearing Arthur. Zed goes out to see more of the place, and there he sees people acting weird on tree branches and a topless woman riding on a horse whom he tries to follow, but she quickly vanishes from his sight. At a river, Zed comes forth and drinks water from it when he suddenly sees a female Eternal walking towards him. He attempts to shoot at the woman, but seeing her hurts his eyes. The woman demands to know how a Brutal like him came to their place, and she widens her eyes on him to interrogate him closely. The scene changes to Zed lying down with his legs wide open with two women named May and Consuela beside him. They are all inside the tabernacle, which is artificial intelligence advancement, where they see through Zed's fragments of memories that depicts brutality and rape toward women. Consuela wants to terminate Zed for his presence and memories can pollute them, but May insists on keeping him so that she can study an outland that they haven't seen in years. May then asks the tabernacle about the whereabouts and last memories of Arthur Frayne, and the women see Arthur Frayne falling to his death from the stone head with the reconstruction of his body already in progress. With May and Consuela arguing about what to do with Zed, they put up a poll between the other Eternals and shows them Zed's explicit memories. The other Eternals are greatly intrigued by Zed's memories since they are starting to get bored of their life as immortal beings that only seek order and perfection within their community. They are also amazed by Zed's features, and each of them starts to touch him and be mesmerized by him. The vote commences telepathically, and the final verdict states that Zed, whom they also refer to as a monster, will be spared from death and be under observation for at least 3 weeks. The next morning, one Eternal named Friend approaches a caged Zed to give him work. As the two are left alone, Friend suddenly whips Zed and telepathically pushes him around to make him spill the whereabouts of Arthur, who he knows well. Friend brings Zed to the Vortex's cultural archive, where they are bombarded by stone sculptures. While Friend is busy instructing and talking to his crystal ring, Zed is organizing and cleaning different artifacts. Later that day, the Eternals gather around the dining table to eat, but May leads Zed to a prism-like place where she continues to study Zed. The continuation of the trial of an Eternal named George Sadin, who is accused of transmitting a negative aura in the second level, interrupts May's study on Zed. Zed continues to help and work along with the Eternals, where Friend and Zed go out on a wagon to bring bread to the renegades, who are punished for their actions by aging them and living on for eternity as an old person. They then come to the next group of Eternals known as the apathetics, who lost their will to live and stare blankly all their lives. With such other groups of Eternals, Brutals are forced to grow crops so that they can support and feed Eternals like them. In the next scene, Consuela presents to the others how Brutals like Zed can be easily aroused by explicit things, which are feelings that are never felt by Eternals anymore. Consuela shows videos of women performing sexual activities, and to her dismay, none of those arouses Zed, but as Zed looks at her, that is when Zed is aroused. Consuela continues to observe Zed, who is now asleep, and tests Zed's reflexes while being in his vulnerable state. As to May's duty as a scientist, she continues to look through Zed's genetics, where she discovers that Zed is a second or third generation mutant, which makes him genetically stable. May explains to Zed that he is far superior to the Eternals and he can do and be anything he wishes. Upon realization, May concludes that Arthur is performing selective breeding in the Outlands and creating mutants like Zed. She plans on terminating Zed since he may destroy them, but for the sake of science, she spares Zed's life and will continue to observe him. Back at the dining hall, Zed carries on serving the Eternals, but Consuela is disrupted by Zed's presence and another telepathic vote commences, which yields a final verdict of keeping Zed for another 7 days under May's experimentations. A sudden proposal of meditation occurs and the Eternals stand up and shake their hands in front of them. Friend refuses to go to the second level with the others, and so the other Eternal's mind controls him since he is disrupting their tranquility. Friend finally admits that he hates women, birth, and fertility. His actions cause him to be exiled along with the renegades, and seeing what had happened, Zed flees from the scene and comes near the periphery shield of Vortex 4 to catch the attention of other exterminators on top of a mountain. Zed goes to the group of renegades to find Friend, with half of his face being artificially aged. With Friend still feeling displeased by what had happened, he tells the others that Zed has the gift of death and he must be killed before May can use him to create another generation of poor Eternals. The renegades attack Zed, but Zed overpowers them with his strength. Zed talks to Friend about what he wants, to which Friend replies that he wants everyone to die, and Zed tells him to fight back against the Eternals. Friend introduces to Zed one of the geniuses that founded the Eternals, and the old man advises Zed to talk to May. As someone eager to know the truth, Zed quickly finds May, who is currently meditating alongside the other Eternals. May offers to tell Zed all that she knows, and in exchange for all that Zed knows, which he accepts. May covers Zed with her blanket and she goes inside Zed's memories, where she sees Zed doing his job, hunting and killing Brutals until he loses his innocence as he sees a masked man that leads him to a library and shows him a book. Being a mutant and superior to other Brutals, Zed quickly learns how to read and he discovers how the present came to be. Zed stumbles upon a book named The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, where he realizes that the name, Zardoz, is based on a fictional book and Arthur is a fake god that manipulates them. This discovery leads to Zed wanting to know the truth, and so he boards the stone head and enters the premises of the Eternals. After seeing Zed's memories and knowing that he wants revenge, May experiences a sexual feeling towards Zed due to prolonged physical contact with him, and they continue to embrace one another. Suddenly, Consuela interrupts them and thinks disgustingly at May, where she suggests that May should be aged 50 years. Consuela then uses her mind to fight off Zed and eventually blinds him. She then tells May that the other Eternals will now learn to hunt and kill upon adapting to Zed's animal instincts, and they leave Zed alone. One of the Eternals named Avalo leads Zed to her garden and restores his sense of sight. Avalo explains to him that when the world fell to ruin, the rich and powerful all gather and create a shield that divides them from the others, whom they now call as the Brutals. During the Dark Age, they heartlessly turn their back on the other human and embedded in their minds that they are a superior race to the inferior Brutals. She thinks that Zed is the liberator and the price that they are paying for their inhumane actions. With furious faces, the Eternals attack Zed and hunt him down, and Zed runs to hide in the group of apathetics. One of the apathetics discovers that Zed is the key to their awakenings. That is why Zed's physical presence stimulates emotions and desires within them, which eventually leads to them engaging in sexual activities and murder. The renegades also join in the chaos, and Zed, fortunately, asks for their help to bring him to Friend, and as Friend meets with Zed again, they set forth to come and meet May in the Vortex's cultural archive. In the Vortex's cultural archive, Mei tries to stop Zed and friends' plan to destroy the vortex, but she eventually succumbs to the reality that what they are doing is against life, and so she asks Zed to inseminate her and her followers, but they will first give him all the knowledge that they know through the method of touch-teach. As Zed finally gains all the knowledge, he wakes up and realizes that the vortex is a prison. He then asks Friend how the vortex started, and Friend tells that the renegades were the scientists who created such advanced technology for the human race to achieve perfection. Unfortunately, the thought of being immortal is against the natural cycles of life, and so they still failed as Eternals and causing themselves to be trapped by their predicaments. Suddenly, a mysterious woman gives Zed a crystal, and as he is examining it, a voice calls for him. Zed is eventually greeted by Arthur, and Arthur gives him a clear crystal ball that he can also use to see the truth that he is seeking. While Zed looks through the crystal ball, Consuela fails to kill Zed since she admits that as she hunts for Zed, she finally becomes like him and she leaves to protect Zed from the others. And so Zed asks the tabernacle about the truth, but the tabernacle is designed to protect itself, so it doesn't answer questions that may harm it. Zed sees through the tabernacle's puzzle and concludes that it is within the crystal itself, and so the tabernacle places Zed inside its dimensions, where Zed starts to be deranged by the mirrors and eventually shoots himself through the mirror and ending the crystal. Back in reality, Consuela kisses Zed and he gains consciousness. Zed acquires a powerful aura that can distance the mad Eternals from them and bring back time to restore the broken artifacts. The remaining group along with Zed goes to the oldest renegade since he will know what to do next. As they ask the oldest renegade, the old man realizes that what they had done is against nature, which is why nature itself created Zed to destroy them. The old man then finally dies and the floating stone head falls down and finally indicates that death had returned to the Eternals. Mei and the other impregnated Eternals then go to start a new life away from the vortex, leaving Zed and Consuela. Renegades start to die due to old age and the other exterminators enter the vortex, killing all the remaining Eternals. The movie ends with the fall of the vortex, and away from it Zed and Consuela make love and eventually bring a child into the world. Their son finally becomes a man and leaves Zed and Consuela growing old together while holding each other until their deaths. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and also subscribe my channel for more videos like this. See you in the next video.